So here's another example of using a strategy in order to verify a trigonometric identity. In this case, we've got tangent squared x is equal to sine squared x times tangent squared x plus sine squared x. And my advice is this, most of the time, or much of the time, people want to take trigonometric expressions and just start replacing with identities right away. But really, one of the tricks that we use is to use your algebra. Do the algebra first. It always saves time in an expression in which we do have algebraic steps present immediately. So do the algebra first. What algebra could we do here first? Well, on the right-hand side, we note that we have a common factor of sine squared x. Well, let's take a look at what that means to us. We've got tangent squared x on the left. And really, it's going to be kind of hard to try and expand that to get all of this on the right. But if I factor out sine squared x on the right, I'm left with tangent squared x plus 1 on the right-hand side there. Right? We factored. Okay, once we factor, then what? Well, now we might try and use a trigonometric identity, and we note that the square of tangent of x is equal to the square of secant x. Tangent squared x plus 1 is the same as the secant squared x, and that might be useful to us. How? Well, let's find out. The only way to really try some of these identities is just to go ahead and try something. If it doesn't work out, you can always come back and try something later. But we're going to say this is secant squared x. Well, now what could that do for us? I notice that secant of x and cosine of x are reciprocals. And look at what's going to happen now. If we say we've got tangent squared x on the left, we've got sine squared x on the right times 1 over cosine squared x. And it is a fact that tangent squared x would equal the square of the sine of x divided by the square of the cosine of x. Right? Another way of looking at squares like this, remember in this notation, we're really saying the square of the sine of x divided by the square of the cosine of x, which we know by our reciprocal, our quote ratio identity is sine of x over cosine of x, that's tangent of x, and tangent of x squared is tangent squared x. Well, that was what we wanted to show, and so we're done.